Hi guys, my name is Means. This is going to be my top picks for the bar spinner of 2017. And for those who know me to the Facebook spinner community, I've amassed quite a bit of a collection. Not that different from my figure collection, but still it is quite awesome. Now, with the spinner community, there's just so much love and support, as well as interaction between the makers that made me stick to it. Now that's something that is a bit lacking with figure collecting. And for those who experience the spinner community, it is such an amazing thing. And if you're just getting into spinner, it's not too late. There are still spinner makers making awesome designs every single day or even weeks, or preparing for them to make their release. Alright, so again, for those who've not familiar what spinners are, it started out with this. This is the generic spinner. You have bearings here as weights. There are 608 with a 608 bearing in the middle. This is your generic ones. This is not what I collect now. I collect something like this. This is made of titanium. This is the arm shaft, and it is quite amazing. Really sleek design, or not this one particular, but like sharp design. Really cool. And it's very enjoyable. This is my first titanium bar spinner, and I've used this quite a bit. And there's another thing with spinners. Once you break that mentality that spinner you're going to be using every day, you don't care if it get dings and whatnot, then that's the point where you really enjoy a spinner, regardless what happened to it. And it's just gonna be your go-to spinner. So depending on what it is, whether it's your first one or just something that you've dropped accidentally and it just becomes your day-to-day use, that's gonna be the spinner for you. So on this topics, it's gonna be a mixture of different categories, just because of how many spinners I have, and it's something that I can do, and I just want to share that list to you guys. Alright, so let's go over the categories. Alright, so first off, it's gonna be below $100. Then the next one will be above $100. And next, after that, lastly, is the artistic ones, the cool looking ones. And somewhere in between, I'll be going over the kind of like the runner-ups. There's some good ones, but it just doesn't make it on the top picks because I have to have something like a cutoff point. Otherwise, each spinner has their own characteristic, even their flaws, which I actually turned out to like them. So it's kind of weird, but that's how I am as a collector. I enjoyed each and every single spinner for what they are. Alright, so let's talk about runner-ups. And why don't we go with below $100 category? So I'll probably go with this one here. This is my first titanium spinner, as I mentioned, and I really enjoy this. Unfortunately, there are hot spots here that probably didn't make this quite popular. But yeah, I like this quite a bit. I'm a big fan of the arm shark, so this is going to be a runner-up right here. Next one is, this is the Ultra Spinners Ergo line, and this is the Beta. They have the Alpha and Omega. Those are the tri-spinners. Beta is the bar-shaped. And they do a lot of cool things with this line, since they do a couple of laser etch on stainless steel. They have the paisley design, the web, and there's just a lot of crazy buttons like the afterburners. So really cool design. I like it, and as the name says it, Ergo, it's quite ergonomic. So that's that. This is the Reaper Machine. This is I believe the Doomsday. Now at first I didn't really like this, but I gave it a bit of a tumbled or stonewash look to it. Put in the tumbler for a couple hours, and I'm starting to really enjoy it. It does take a while to really get into this particular spinner, but quite nice. I like it. I wish I got more of them. And this is the next one, another honorable. This is Legacy's Origin spinner, the Origin bar spinner. This is a titanium one, and with 1.5 buttons. What great thing about this is the buttons. It's probably the first one that I really enjoyed. It's just the right shape. You know, the dish, or sometimes they call it the bowl. It's just the right. It's just really good. I've really enjoyed this particular bowl shape buttons. Now they call it buttons or caps. I interchange them. And lastly, I want to go over that for the nomination is this one. This is the iFidget. Now this is actually a little bit more than 100 if you combine the crazy the Damasteel blue tongue caps, which is folded metal. It's really cool looking here, which I've upgraded this iFidget. So this is the iFidget by Venom Designs, and this is really, it's a really great spinner, and I would probably put this on my top picks, but I didn't really get a good experience the first time I got the iFidget. I had a bar, it had a wobble, but over time I got the stainless steel like this one here, and I actually really enjoyed them. And the buttons, especially for this particular one that Sam created, it's really great. So this is slowly going up my list, and maybe in a few months this probably will be part of my top 5. So this is the iFidget. Has that classic look to it. Really great. And for those not familiar, this is the machine finished, which has this wavy lines. That's really cool when the light shines on it. And that's actually probably part of what my what do you call this, influence my picks. Let me put some here on the other side. I really enjoyed machine finish. Alright, so let's go with my top, let's go with top 6, and I have 6 slots here. This is spinner board by 6S Gear, and I've really enjoyed the display base. It's quite nice. So first off, let's talk about this one. So this is actually in my top 6. It could be in any order except for the last one, which is my favorite for this category. So first off, we have the Spider by Stealth. This is the Stealth Spider, and I would have to say that this is crazy because of how it's machined. You know, there's cuts out here and there. You can put trits here, tritium, the thing that glows, but I've used aluminum rods instead. Really nice design, and definitely recommend if you can find them. Unfortunately, Stealth is discontinuing due to, you know, several reasons, but at one point they're quite an innovator. Max, who's the owner, his designs are crazy, and this is one of them. And that's just a little shy of $100. So but it fits in this category. Next up is this one. This is just fairly recent. This is the Dot Square by Premium Spinners. Premium Spinners, they're the ones who've make the Loophole, which is quite popular ring spinner right here. So this is actually his first bar spinner, and this one utilizes a unique a button retention. Let's see if I can pop this out here, because it uses O-rings. There's an O-ring right there, and if I push this out here just to demonstrate that, he has 3 O-rings, 2 that holds the bearing, and I'm quite happy that he uses a sealed bearing, or has the shields there, prevents the dirt from getting in, and this one kind of locks in place. Yeah, there we go. And at first I thought this is gonna be like the mini Valkyrie or something of that sort. It's a mini spinner, but the thickness of it kind of gives it a bit more heft, and it's just a really nice bar spinner. I've really enjoyed this, and becoming one of my favorite bar spinners. So this makes my part of my top bar spinners. Next up is this one right here. This is MTE Designs Hummingbird. Now I got into this because of my dismay with the Hyperstone. The one I got a crazy wobble. It was imbalanced, and someone, I forgot who, mentioned that I should try out the Hummingbird. and I've grown to love this guy here. Actually, at first I had a little bit of problem with this one. The bearing was greased, so it didn't really spin that long. But I've degreased it and cleaned it, and it's just really great. Carried it a few times, and you know, even today it's just a really nice bar spinner. So the Hummingbird, and it actually comes with a really cool packaging as well. Next up is Invictus by Dam Designs. Now, they're popular with the Triad. That's the first spinner that I created, and they made a bar shape. And I think this might have been their first design. I can't quite remember, but they've released Triad first. And this is amazing. Just the nice cuts on the angle cuts here. No hot spots other than the tip here, but you're not going to be reaching for that. It's just a very good bar spinner. So it makes the list here. Next up is Full Throttle Originals. This is the Mini Asylum, and again, I love my machine finish, and this is just great. At first it was a bit too minimalistic in terms of the design. It's very simple, but it works, and the machining, it's just almost perfect. I really enjoy this particular spinner. It's just really great, and you know, it's quite popular, and it's actually really hard to get them now due to the popularity. But Nick, the creator of this, he actually puts up pre-orders from time to time, and a really great guy. Just when you talk to him, yeah, he'll help you out with your order. So overall, I'm very satisfied with Full Throttle Originals. This is the Mini Asylum. There is the full one, which is a bit longer, which is great as well. But definitely, this one is just right, the mini one. So let's put that there. And lastly, the top bar spinner below 100 for me is this one. Probably no surprise to some of you. The Geometrics. This is my favorite. For one, again, with the machine finished, and it's just the right size. I really enjoy this. It's just a pleasure to spin. Really great, and it's very balanced as well. Yep, it doesn't turn, or very slight. So it's probably one of the really balanced bar spinners out there, and I really like it. And another thing I also like, it's asymmetrical. Like you got a more of a curve on one side than the other. And actually, one of the reasons why I really like, I like the Hyperstone, and I want to get one, is because of those angles. And Geometric has that, as well as the machine finish, as well as this. It's actually the cuts. It's steps. It goes alternating for each side, and it's just crazy looking. It's quite amazing. This is made by GLM Tech and designed by Ong Jong-un, and a really great guy as well. I've talked to him several times, and you know, sadly this didn't really get that far in terms of popularity. I wish it did. I've actually collected pretty much every iteration of this as much as I can. This is the version 2 that he designed, which has some crazy design as well. The caps is crazy looking. It's actually really textured. So this is the version 2, and he also created Zero Metrics, which is right, where'd I go? Right here. It's actually part of my other category, which is a double spinner. Very cool design. Yeah, quite amazing. So Geometrics, that makes my best under $100 category. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. Alright, next up is the over 100. Now, it took me a little while before jumping the fence and trying out the $100 spinner or over that. I was a little bit skeptical, because I mean, wouldn't it be the same if I just buy the $30 one or $20 or even the $70 ones? And it actually makes a big difference, and sometimes the only way to get them is through that design, and they're offering at this particular price. and some of those are made by artists. So it just really depends. So for this one, I only have two honorable mentions, since there's not much of a over 100, although I could add more to this. But first off, I got the mini tracks. Now the tracks, the original one has a lot of cutouts, but this one, I think it's a lot better. It's a little shorter. The tracks one is a little longer. A bit cumbersome to spin, but this one is just great. So this is stainless steel. It's quite nice, really easy to flick. And track is actually quite popular for their buttons here. It's quite comfy and has a nice kind of like details there. Yeah, very nice buttons. But yeah, mini tracks. Next up is the Odive spinner. This is the I think he calls it the flying propeller. Really nice spinner. It's made in titanium, very lightweight, has a really thin profile for the buttons, and it's actually a special made to order spinner. You gotta talk to Oliver on his group, and he'll walk you through whichever design you want to go for, and he'll constantly give you updates with pictures right after he does, like a couple steps till he ships it out, and it's well worth it. Definitely, if you have a chance to get one of his spinner, they're amazing. Definitely, yeah, really enjoying this particular one. And this one has a wicked warp effect. It's hard to show it here, but I had it in one of my Instagram videos. So there we go. Now let's talk about the top 6. Since I have 6 slots here, let's think about that. Maybe I should just condense it to the top 5, but again, it's kind of hard. So you've already seen this. This is the Zerometrics again. It's a variant of the Geometrics. A really great spinner. And this is actually quite expensive, but it's in a limited run. Yeah, but regardless, it's a really nifty bar spinner. And quite happy I have one of these. Yeah, no longer made. Next up is the Compass by Zerofude. Now the Zerofude Compass, they're actually quite in demand. I think it's just for the limited supply that drives the demand, and it is ridiculous, the aftermarket on this ones. Now I believe this go for like 160. Unfortunately, I have to buy someone else. Well, it just, again, they're not, and I really want to try one. I really want to get a full-size Compass. So I paid about 200 or so on one of them. Oh man, why? But I have to say, this is what works for me. I also have the mini Compass, but this one definitely it's a really great bar spinner if you're able to get one. It's one of those simplistic design or minimalist, but yeah, it just works. For me, it's really nice, and hopefully Rick from Zerofude makes more of these, and I think he's coming out with the tungsten Compass, which I'm looking forward into. Yeah, I got myself into tungsten lately. It's just a great metal. It's like, surprise, it's heavy. Next up on this list of over 100 is this one here. This is Axiom spinner, and the creator is his name is Leo. This is an awesome design. It's cool looking. He got 2 axes, it spins. Now this is one of the different finish that he offered. And this one is actually a little special because I have trit slots. Normally the Axiom doesn't have that. He had a couple run with the trit slots, but I think he has a brushed finish. But I've requested, since I've been talking with Leo, a great guy, if I can get one that is with a black oxide finish, and I managed to get one. And again, thank you very much, Leo, for doing that. I've added some carbon fiber inserts for the caps, And actually, the Axiom caps are really great. Actually, quite nice as well. I've really enjoyed those caps. But this is something a little extra that I've done. Yeah, it's a really great spinner. He also has a triax, but definitely the Axiom here it makes it a really unique bar spinner. Next up is the Portal. Now I got into the spinner community a little late, halfway through the year. Well, yeah, well, not halfway, but by the time I got into it, the Portal is sold out. I think it came out earlier in the year. And this one in particular, since I really love machine finish, this speaks to me. And I was really wanting to get one. And this spinner is really popular for that machine finish. Kind of creates a portal look when you spin it. And has one of the very comfortable buttons. That the step portal buttons, it is just amazing. And it's kind of ridiculous when you see in the market that they're selling their portal without the buttons, because they just want to get that one. But yeah, really nice spinner. I definitely recommend if you ever find one for a good price, and hopefully it makes more in the future. Even tungsten. Always with tungsten. Alright, so let me put that there. Now the next one is a classic. This is the Stubby. Now this is made by Rotoblade over at UK. It is quite expensive and also has one of those minimalistic design, but look how rounded that is. That is just amazing. And I would have to say, if you're into spinner collecting, you gotta have a Rotoblade in your collection, whether it's a Stubby or the Tri-Stubby or even the Rotoblade Mark II. Yeah, he makes other spinners as well, even the Rotostone. So definitely, it's one of those classic spinner that you gotta have in your collection. Now this is stainless steel. I do have a titanium as well, the brass, even tungsten. Tungsten is just a treat. But yeah, get a Stubby. It's just it has to be in your collection. All right, so that's that. And lastly, my favorite over $100 spinner. And this is actually, a bit of a surprise since I had problems initially with this. Is this one, the Hyperstone. Oh man, I'm not sure if I should tell the story, but why not? So with the Hyperstone, this is, I guess, the second generation, or could be a third. But initially, the Hyperstone retention is with a set screw on one of the sides, holds the bearing. Unfortunately, if you over tighten that, it'll mess up the bearing, and it's just no good. Now, this is part of, I think it was around June or July that they made another one, but this one is just press fit. I may use a bit of a Loctite there. I use the blue Loctite to hold the bearing in. This one doesn't use R188 bearing, so it's a little special. I actually end up buying some from eBay, and which worked out quite well for what I'm going for. Although I just have to decrease the bearing. I like decreased bearings. But the problem with what I have is it's imbalance. Like, let's see if I can show it here. Just a little bit. Actually, it's a lot worse than that. I've ended up, or where's that side? Right here. You see that? The whole one side of this was heavy. I ended up just filing this away. Filing it away for almost an hour. Just grinding, trying to get as much weight off. I was thinking of sending it back, but this is made in Vietnam. Sending back to Vietnam and getting it back will cost money. And at that point, like, I was really disappointed. Like, maybe I'll do something. And part of the spinner community, what got me to really stick with spinners is sometimes when you work on it, it kind of becomes your own creation in a way, or you've made something to it to improve it, and the outcome, you're just proud of it. Like, hey, I fixed it. So I found this all the way. Then I gotta polish as much as I can. and it is great. Now it's balanced. And just the ergonomic of this one, depending on which side you're flicking, and the length, the weight, it's just perfect for me. Hence why I really enjoyed the Hyperstone. And this makes my first one over $100. It's just a really great spinner. There you go. So those are my picks for the top 100. And lastly, this is kind of like the cool looking ones. Something that's design is like quite puzzling, that how did they make this? Alright, so let's go over the honoraries. There's actually quite a bit of them, so let's get cracking on it. So first off, this is the Think Tank by Stealth. Now this is a bit ridiculous at first, but it is a spinner that has a tank design on it. Max did an awesome job on this one, gaining popularity quite a bit. So it's quite an amazing spinner. It is aluminum base with a stainless steel turret right here, but quite nice. So that's one of the honoraries. Another one that I really like is the Odie spinner. This is one of the later design, the last one that he made. I don't think he makes spinners anymore. And this is the black version with some laser engraving, which is quite amazing. I really like the design, but towards the end, he got a lot of flack for where he produces stuff from, and how this is quite similar to another spinner, which we'll talk in a bit. So let's put that here. Another cool looking one is this one. It's by Vinox Spin. It's I think the smoke spinner, or it's kind of like the clouds. It's a really great one. What makes this great is the cutouts. That has some crazy cutouts there, and has a really nice spin. Actually, I put a one-drop bearing on this one because if you put a hybrid ceramic, it's actually quite loud. Some people might like that, but I think putting a one-drop bearing on this one makes it a lot better. So, really cool looking spinner right there. Next one is this one here. This is Evo by Spinner Manila. This one is quite interesting because it's a 3-in-1 where you can do, it's a roller. It's a clicker. There's some springs that go, you can press this down and it's a spinner. What makes this great is that it's quite balanced, even despite having a, multiple parts, having a spring, and it's great. The design on this one is just amazing, and yeah, overall, I really like this. Another cool looking spinner is this one right here. This is handmade and has the Stormtrooper Paisley design right there. And this is made by Thomas. We call him TVJ. He makes knives, but he does a couple of this acid etched bar spinners made of brass, and this is one of my favorites. Just being handmade, and it's actually very nice to fidget with. It's a good balance, good feedback. I like it a lot. I managed to get one of the other etched. This is the Koi. I picked this up from another collector. Yeah, great spinner. Alright, so that is part of the honorable mention. And lastly, I have this one here. This is the Cicada by Joe Knives. Now this one is quite interesting looking because it looks like a bug. We got the eyes there. I did change out the buttons on this one. I used a Fagby button because I think it covers the bearings a lot more. I think I'm using a 608. It is a bit noisy, but Cicada does sing, so that kind of adds to the flair to that. And it's a hefty spinner. It's a very unique bar spinner. Feels like when you spin, it's like it's alive. Alright, now for my top picks. I think I have, what do I have? I think I have, oh, I only have 5. Alright, so we'll stick with 5. I guess one of these I think, well, this is one of my favorites, so I'm just gonna leave this here. This is gonna be my 6th. My mistake. Alright. So going with that list, one of the top 6 on the artistic spinners is the Skull Spinner. And I would say this is probably one of the coolest looking spinners out there. It has skulls on it. And Skull Spinner is spelled with a C, not with a K. It's made by Arcady. And this is just an amazing spinner. It's lightweight, made of titanium. Got a really nice anodizing on it. And he actually made this is kind of like a V2 version with the skulls has that curve on them. Otherwise, it usually just flat. So I opted with this version. Actually, I got this through one of his sale, and I got lucky to get this one here. He's still making some, and actually he changed the retention system. He get quite a bit of a flank for using welded bearing. And actually, I think he's the only one who does that. So it's welded in. And he opted to make it vertical retention, the one that you can remove it using a tool. So that is like a big sacrifice for him, because he was making his Darth Vader spinner with the same setup, but he opted on using the vertical retention system, this one here. You can use the tool to remove the top cover, and you can access the bearing quite easily. So he made that sacrifice to make his customer happy, and kudos to him. So that makes the list right there. Next up is this one, the Pepiaka spinner. Now, some of you might have seen some iteration of this, or the tri-spinner version of this, and that is actually heavily cloned. But I would say this is probably one of the classic bar spinners that are quite popular at one point. If you have a Pepiaka, you're kind of like in the the top higher group, or a club. Like, hey, I got a Pepiaka here. You're part of the elite group. But I managed to get one. I actually got this from like at the secondary market. And it's a great spinner. It's a great design. You got, for the most part, it's titanium, the frame and the sides here, but it has brass plates. And he made the Mike, who's the company. It's from Russia with Knives or Custom Knife Factory. There's 2 names. I think he has 2 storefronts, but you can get it from one of those. But yeah. Mike designed this with a different plates that you can interchange. So it's a very nice spinner. I like it a lot, and it has a really cool design on it. So that makes the list. Alright, so next up on the list is the armor. I think this armor number 4. It's made by Castfly. There we go. I keep forgetting the name of Caesar. There we go. Made by Caesar. There's a Castfly Facebook page, and Dean Chu is actually the one facilitating that in terms of distribution and sales of this. But definitely, this is an amazing piece. It's all made in titanium. They just announced that they're gonna change out this faceplate. You can buy different add-ons or replacement faceplates, and this is just a nice bar spinner. Now there is also the Crusader that I've been wanting to get, but I'm waiting for a good price on that one. That one's close to 200. This one is actually over 200 bucks, but definitely it's really cool looking. Kind of reminds me of War Machine, but quite a nice bar spinner. All right, so going down to the last 2, it's actually made by the same person. And why don't we start with one of them? This is Maze X by Konstantin Poshnakov. Actually, at one point, the way to get this is you gotta follow him on Instagram, and when he posts the pictures, you gotta message him right away. Now this is surprisingly cheap for what you're getting. It's close to $100, because this could easily be a $200. From the other makers out there who. But this is amazing. This is titanium. It is anodized. He made a special version, and I like that fade. You got that purple fade at the end. You got the gold, almost like orange in the middle. Really great spinner, and I've considered him like his spinner's just like truly amazing. And some people consider it like their grail spinner, having one of his. It has a really nice ring to it, being titanium, but just an amazing spinner. I like it. And my favorite out of this set, and again made by Constantine, is this one, the B. This is such an amazing spinner. It's made of brass, but the way he cuts this, it's stepped, and he also had that the aged brass on this, and blacken the edges there. It is just amazing. Yeah, and those cutouts, it's crazy. The circular cutout. Yeah, this is my favorite bar spinner. It actually spins like a top too. Let's see if I can show that here. So basically, hopefully I don't damage anything. Supposed to kind of lay it down. Let's see how this goes. There we go. Should have given it a bit more of a push, but it can spin because of how one end has that end there. And actually, Anthony at the Carver's Custom does this every time he does the live stream. It's really amazing, and definitely the B it's a keeper. It's just an amazing bar spinner. So anyways, that pretty much makes my top picks for the artistic ones. So there you go. Oh, there goes the armor. And really great. I really enjoy it. Anyways, that's pretty much it for my topics. I apologize if it's a really lengthy video, but you gotta tell a bit more for each one why I picked it, and yeah, those are my reasons. Basically for me, I like stainless steel for the most part, and with machine finished, why I picked the Geometrics. The Hyperstone I picked up because of how ergonomic it is. It's just the balance. Well, if you got a good working one, it just works out for me. This is kind of like my ideal length, weight, and overall, it kind of speaks on me that this is a really great bar spinner. Why I picked the Hyperstone. I like it a lot. And lastly, I went for the artistic, and this is it's a really nicely done spinner. Truly amazing. The B. And I'm constantly gonna follow him, hoping he makes more bar spinners, or pretty much whatever he makes. I'm gonna pick it up. So really great Boshnikov spinners right there. So those are my picks. If you have your own top spinner for 2017, let me know through the comments. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. And I'll continue to update my Instagram for those warp videos. Go check it out. It's in the description of this video. Otherwise, if you're just getting into the spinner, be sure to check out the spinner community at the Facebook Spin Space and the Daily Fidget. Those are the two big ones. Then eventually you'll get into the makers subgroups, which are great, and even getting into the buying the pouches and stuff, like Carver's Customs. I've really enjoyed the community on that one as well, and even the what do you call that? You got Spinetics, Fidget HQ, Damn Designs. Yeah, great communities out there. Anyways, that's about it for this review. Hope you have a good one. If you got questions, especially for spinners, let me know. I probably can give you a good insights on them. And that's about it. So until then, this is Meads. Thanks for watching.